Morning, everybody. The Ontario PC Party is having their convention this weekend, and they're coming out with policies, etc., etc. Yesterday, they were talking about how the policy of the party was to remove the gender theory from education. And today, or yesterday, I suppose, Andrew Lawton tweeted out, PC convention delegates just passed policy that party, quote, respects the inherent authority of parents as the primary educators of children. Huge applause for at T. Granick Allen, who spoke in favor of the motion. So that's great. I like that. I like it on the heels of the other policy, or in concert with the other policy announced yesterday. And here is an expert, Dr. Deborah So. She holds a PhD in sexual neuroscience. And she talks about Ontario's sex ed backlash isn't about children's safety. And one area I wanted to highlight was... this is part of the article. So, quote, I too was once a vocal supporter of the updated sex ed curriculum, but watching how its unscientific claims about gender identity have spread so prevalently has dampened my enthusiasm. The curriculum promotes the idea that there are more than two genders, and the gender identity is socially constructed. The fact that few people have pointed out how these teachings aren't based in science should raise a red flag in parents' minds. According to one survey, less than 1% of people in the United States identify as transgender. That means for over 99% of us, our biological sex is our gender. A curriculum that teaches gender fluidity is misleading and will impair a child's ability to have an accurate understanding of the world. Okay, and there's a lot more in here. She criticizes the 1998 curriculum as well. Yeah, there's criticism to go both ways, but confusing our kids is not an option. And I'm glad that the Ford government and the provincial government is moving on this. I hope to have a federal government that stops pretending that putting forward feminism is the same as promoting gender theory as fact, because it's not fact. So I'm glad that they're doing this. I'm glad that they're being clear about who is in charge of children's sex education. It is the parents. It is not the state. And I'm glad that they're being clear about what is acceptable in education and what is not acceptable. And what is not acceptable in elementary education is gender theory as fact. Thank you. I appreciate that. That makes sense. Not the insane liberal perspective of everything's a spectrum, including math. That's crazy. Okay. Moving on, there's an RCMP file open regarding an investigation into Justin Trudeau and various other MPs for their part in funding Islamic terrorism. The case file is, and I won't read the case file out, but it's here. Tom Quiggin has the details. And I like Mr. Quiggin. He is, he's long in the tooth. He knows what he's talking about with regards to terrorism, and he is a court recognized expert in the subject, and he's Canadian. He has his own podcast, and you can see that linked in the tweet. Actually, it's Patreon that he works through, and SoundCloud, I think. But he's good. I like listening to his podcast. His podcasts scare me more than mine do, so pay attention. So he's tweeting out, my formal complaint to the RCMP to investigate the Government of Canada funding of terrorism has hit a very sensitive nerve. A Liberal member of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights is sending letters making false claims about me. So link to that and a link to the original report is in the description below. Check it out if you're interested. We all know how effective standing committees are, so the fact that they're moving to get letters out means the Liberals must be really upset, right? Usually the Liberals just talk word salad at the Conservatives who are asking questions until the time is up, and the chair of the meeting allows them to, so that's always fun to watch, right? But that's just the Finance Standing Committee. I'm not sure about the Justice and Human Rights Standing Committee. Maybe they have more impactful and interesting conversations. Moving on. This has two things that I want to point out. Okay, so this is the Conservative Party tweet stream, tweet official, sending this out, and it says, quote, as many as 2 million non-resident Canadians will have a say in 2019. Yeah, it does say that. As many as 2 million non-resident Canadians will now have a say in the 2019. Does this make sense to you? No, Conservative Party, it doesn't make sense. Read your tweets before you send them. And I know I'm a person too, I mess up. It probably meant to say 2019 campaign. Does this make sense to you? No, it doesn't. And the meme is good. I like the meme. It looks good. It says, Liberals rushed election bill C-76 broadens voting rights to non-resident Canadians, even if they have no intention of ever living in Canada again. Linda Frum. Two problems I have with this tweet, other than the fact that it's missing a word. One, there's no call to action. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to send money? Do you want them to go to a website? Do you want people to call their MPs? What do you want them to do? This just says it's bad. So people know it's bad. People are really angry about it being bad. I say again, Mr. Scheer, can you talk about things people are interested in and then give them something to do? You have to give people a call to action. There's no call to action. So CPC HQ, please do better. Have two people read your tweets before you send them out and put a call to action on your memes. If you're not telling people to do something, they're going to keep scrolling and they're not going to do what you want them to do, which is maybe go to the website or something to that effect. Put a call to action in your memes. All right. And the other part is, this is Bill C-76. As it says, it's going to allow up to 2 million non-resident Canadians who never have an intention of coming back to Canada ever again to vote. So here's Bill C-76 in openparliament.ca, and here is access to all of the votes, and you can look at all of the votes for Bill C-76. And I looked at so these are the important ones. I mean, they're all important, I suppose, but this is the third reading, right? This is the reading to adopt the bill, and this is the second reading. I got the second reading. Okay, so these are the two really important ones. Andrew Scheer didn't vote on either. Why? This is the second reading. The third reading, sorry. Andrew Scheer didn't vote. Michelle Rempel voted. No. But Andrew Scheer didn't vote. And then this is the second reading. So the one on May. Andrew just couldn't. He was busy. He was busy that day. He didn't bother to vote. Is this not important? 2 million extra people? Now, again, it's not going to matter if he votes. They didn't have the numbers. But if the leader of the party is going to try and be seriously holding the opposition to account, do you think he'd make time to show up to vote? Do you think he'd, like, these are events. Bills like this are an event that you can rally your base, okay? So you say, I'm going to vote for this thing and it's going to do this. It's going to allow 2 million non-resident Canadians to vote. Do you want that, Canadians? And they say no. And you say on November, what was the date? November 22nd, or no, October 30th, I'm going to vote against this bill that these Liberals want to put through. But he didn't. He didn't even bother to vote, right? Like, this is a tentpole. This is a tentpole date. You can get your base riled up. You can say at this date, it's scheduled to be voted for, and I'm going to vote no. And it's important that people vote no. You get pressure that way. There are conservatives who live in NDP and Liberal ridings. They can put pressure on their MPs, right? You've got to get people fired up. You've got to get people to know your name, Mr. Scheer, right? Like, this is not, it seems like it's a game to you, I guess, but this isn't a game, man. So, not bothering to vote, not bothering to have a call to action, not bothering to really communicate with the constituents. And when he does communicate with the constituents, he does it half in French in Ontario. What are you doing? I mean, okay, there are some French speakers in Ontario, but not so many in Toronto, you know? So, again, my frustration with Mr. Scheer. And I'm very glad to have the People's Party of Canada as an option to vote for. I really am very glad for that, because if the only options we had to vote for were the NDP, the CPC, and the Liberals, I would be losing my mind much more than I am on Andrew Scheer. Like, I think I'm going easy on him at this point in time, because A, he should know these things. He should know that you need a call to action. He should know that you should be there to vote. He should know that you need to rally your base. And rallying your base means doing things that people are interested in and are talking about. This is an easy one. But maybe you need to take a stance on it. Do you want to open up our elections? Do you want to have foreign money in our elections? Do you want to have foreign people who never intend to vote in Canada ever again? I don't know, because you didn't bother to vote. You weren't there. So you say this, but you act differently. Right? Didn't bother to vote. So, thanks for watching this morning, everybody. Again, my problems with Andrew Scheer are totally caused by Andrew Scheer's choices. It's not Maxime Bernier that's messing up the CPC. It's Andrew Scheer refusing to talk about things, refusing to vote on things, and refusing to even talk about things to his base. I'm going to flip some pancakes, everybody. Do you want to hear about gang violence? No! Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca and have a great Sunday.